Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to Hand of Fate, episode 1, I guess? I don't know. I was gonna do a first impressions video, and technically I did, but this game's bloody hard, and my commentary sucked for it. And I'm gonna have to be kind of fast about it because there's one issue. I'm not sure if I'm gonna show it or not. Anyway, so first I'm gonna just show this off, and this is the deck management. So this game's kind of unique where you build a deck and then you face off against it in a bunch of different custom challenges. And so this section I'm currently looking at is my equipment. So these are items that I could potentially find while I'm playing. A lot of armor and shields, not a lot of weapons. I'm gonna get rid of the shield and pick up another sword just because we've got a lot of like miscellaneous stuff here, and you can find more while you play as well. But I'd like to try and keep my stuff balanced. Also, you know, better weapons are better than armor, because I generally don't get hit that often in this game. I usually take my damage from other sources, which we'll get into. Mainly with these cards. These are event cards, which you can run across as you play. So, if you notice, we have like Dig King's Hall, Goblins, Maze of Traps, you know, various things that you would run into. And let's see, I'm gonna get rid of Field of Poppies, because that's just annoying. And see this one, Prince of Shadows, with the little red seal on it? That means if I complete the challenge with the red seal on it, then I get extra cards as a reward. So that one's actually pretty good to pick up. Let's see. Maze of Traps is pretty easy, so I'm gonna stick with that one. The Maiden is actually a beneficial one. Not sure about Twisted Canyon. I'm gonna get rid of Dead Man's Gorge, because I want to get as many of these cards with the little red mark on them as possible. And just because I'd like to fill up my deck some more. And, you know, I've got, what, 5 cards here that would be useful? Heroes Remains and Crucible are really nice. Winding Trail, I can get rid of. I also can't get rid of anything with a lock. Those are locked until I clear the challenge, which is kind of frustrating because I've really... or defeat the Lizard Man King. We're not even there yet. I'll get rid of this one. And then... is that it? Yep, that's it. That's all of the red seal cards, and we can continue on. So, save decks and begin the game. So, there are multiple challenges. I don't know if the red card one is specifically... yeah, that must be the King of Dust. Because you've got the... Jack of Dust... another Jack of Dust? I don't know, whatever. Queen of Dust, and then the King. And then you have the other suits. Dust is apparently a suit in this game. And this game is hard, so we're going against the Queen of Dust, and I'm trying to show the challenges, but I pressed A too many times. So, by beating this challenge, I'll get 6 more encounter cards, 3 equipment cards, and there are 3 extra challenges spread across the playing field, map, whatever. So, as we... this is the reason why I didn't want to do the impressions video. If you take too long, the dealer starts complaining at you, and I really don't appreciate it, and I'm currently talking over it because it's very, very annoying. And he will do it non-stop, like, completely without end. He'll just say it over and over and over again. So I'm just going to start. The other rule change is that I move slower based on the amount of gold I've got sitting around. So I'm going to have to be kind of fast about this. Now, those are the Rockfall cards. Rockfalls are actually where I take the vast majority of the damage. It's not exactly fun. And, you know, a couple of, like, merchant cards, too, which are always in the game, because if you didn't have merchants, you'd actually end up starving to death in this game, because it does have a food mechanic, which I actually really like, but the penalties for starving are, you know, vastly more dire than the penalties for... oh, Rockfall, right off the bat. This is not good. Oh well, so, while journeying near the coast, you hear a rumble overhead. Falling rocks force you to take cover. So I have a 25% chance of succeeding, and a 25% chance of doing very poorly. And, of course, you can't exactly pay attention to the cards as they come through, so, failure. Take 2 pain cards. This is where I take the vast majority of the damage, so I take 15 health, and another 10 health, so I am already down 25 health. If this is a rockfall, then we're going to have some problems. Nope, Twisted Canyon. So Twisted Canyon, it has a weapon at the very bottom, but I have to climb down. And realistically, I'd like to get it. I'm just a little bit concerned, because if I do manage to fail, it's going to hurt a lot. I'm just going to go with this one. Failure again. Now, the way failure works in this one is you still manage to make it down, but I take more penalties. So I lost all of my non-existent gold, and I also lost Food. Food is really useful. But now I do have a weapon, which is good. So we have Desperate Measures, which is, I've never actually seen this one before or used it. So this mace inflicts more damage the lower the health of the wielder is. It's actually pretty good. So let's equip that, because it does about the same amount of damage as my axe, but it has a nice little effect. And we're going in the Crucible, which is a really good one. So the town of Stiegel sits upon the only safe crossing it on the river Ernst. However, the only adventurers allowed to pass are the ones who cross through the Crucible. In the Crucible, you'll fight monsters for the entertainment of the townspeople of Stiegel. What will you do? Enter the Crucible. So, more or less gladiatorial arena, I get to pick my opponents. And it's 3 of dust across the board. Dust means, like, bandit in this game. So, I will be fighting 3 bandits. If it's 2 of skulls, I'll be fighting 2 skeletons. If it's the Jack of Skulls, it will be this undead guy, and he comes with, like, 4 extra guys. It's kind of frustrating. But normally you just fight a couple of these. Sometimes the people of Stiegel are like, oh hey, that's not enough enemies. Have more. Which gets a little bit on the frustrating side, but it's usually not that big of a problem. Especially because the enemy AI is a little bit simplistic, as in, if you're used to any third-person combat game, you can really get used to doing the combat without taking a whole lot of damage. It's been a couple of days since I've played, but eventually you can get on this cycle of walloping people just as they get up, and unless you have, you know, like 5-6 enemies, you really can just move across the entire playing field over and over and over again, walloping them. It's a bit cheesy, but it's honestly a very good way of clearing things out. So we could do 2 of skulls or 4 of dust. And I'm going to do the dust, because the one problem I have with the skeletons is they have shields. I probably should have gone with them just to show them off a little bit, but whatever. So this way we're just going to be fighting 4 bandits. And then there's like a boss round for the Crucible. Mainly the reason why I keep this one in, even though it's like a lot more combat that you normally face in this game, is the rewards are proportionately a lot better than... Ow. Okay, the rewards are a lot better proportionately in comparison to, you know, many of the other ones. Because, say, the Twisted Gorge, which I should probably take out of the deck just because the probability of success kind of sucks. But for this one, I'm going to get like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 equipment cards, kind of depends. I know I definitely got a lot the first time I ever did it because it had a red seal, but not so much so. Anyway, get 2 more monster cards. This is the final one. So it's Jack of Skulls and 3 of Dust. So the Jack of Skulls is kind of an interesting enemy, as in he mostly just stands towards the back, but he's accompanied by 2 skeleton riflemen, usually, and he revives them when I take them down. Or, I guess it's 2 skeleton riflemen and a shielded one. But luckily this game, you always start with a dodge roll, which is super convenient, because it lets you dodge pretty much everything as long as you've got the timing down. You just have to make sure you don't get hit. Because the thing is, health you lose, you will regain as a result of eating food, but if you run out of food, then you lose 10 health. Per, you know, time you get. Well, you lose 10 health every time you're out of food, so I only have 4 food left. I guess that is kind of the downside of the Crucible, is that I'm going to run out of food by doing this, I think. Anyway, so, we get a token. It didn't give us a reward. Well, that sucked. There's usually a reward for that one. Oh well, Mage's Tower. Mages of Korn are the last human magic wielders. They are worshipped and feared in equal measure. They hide away in towers that they build ever upwards to grow closer to the gods they hope to usurp. I don't know, whatever. Usually you get nice equipment tokens from the Crucible. I might actually have to take that one out of the deck now. Anyway, you approach a tall spire that shines with magical energy. Enter the tower! Yay! As soon as your hand touches the cold iron doors, the mages are alerted to your presence. Pressed A. Oh. Whenever it's loading a new card, it does seem to freeze a little bit. So I've never actually fought mages before in this game. I assume it's going to be a lot of dodging, but I think those ram heads are going to be traps. We're going to have to be a little bit worried about that. These mages do not look like your standard mages. Also... Wow. Okay, so... Looks like they cast a heck of a lot faster than normal, which is kind of okay. Kind of... This is going to hurt. Luckily, they hurt each other, which is good. I'm just going to need to get some healing items at some point soon. And also, luckily, they are pretty easy to take out. I'm just trying to stun them before they can finish casting. Well, okay, so I took a fair amount of damage there, but not that much. And let's... Well, we get the token from them at the very, very least. So what do we get? What? That was it? I guess I got the token. So we could go up, but considering we're running low on food, I really don't want to go on...
Runs short. This does not bode well.
Too many adventures, because every time you move, you lose one food, which is a seriously bad thing. And failure. So I get crushed by rocks. That kind of sucks. Paying cards, so 5 health, and then 10 health. This is what I mean when I say I take most of my amount of damage, or most of the damage I take is outside of combat. So we got hit by rocks, and we get to go on to the next level. So every time you play, it's 1 to 2 levels, and considering we're almost out of food, we're probably actually going to starve here, which is kind of frustrating.
Your strength will not be restored between encounters.
Because
you also begin to starve. It seems you'll learn that soon enough, though.
So, one of the problems I have with this game is purely the fact that the narrator, the dealer, will tell you things even if you've already heard them before. So in this case, every time I start starving, he will tell me that I'm running low on food, which is very frustrating because I understand that. I've played this game before. The whole, you know, you're not... shoot. The whole, you know, you're not moving fast enough. He'll just say that endlessly. There's no end to the amount of what he talks about there. It gets very frustrating because it's like, I get this. But I guess it's less of a problem if you've, you know, if you're not recording this for YouTube. But when you are recording this for YouTube, it's not a nice sound clip. Oh, I almost got stuck there. So I did end up getting hit by the ground spike traps, which is kind of annoying, but not the end of the world. And we get 3 gain cards. So we get Fate's Folly, Success Chance cards award gold, but fail cards cost the player gold. That's frustrating. 5 gold, useful, and equipment. Angel's Wing. This I'm going to equip because it makes us move faster. But we get less gold, which we don't need. And unfortunately, we need to go find a merchant, but we can't...
A sad way to end.
Bother with the merchant.
I had such challenges prepared for you. Such is life.
Okay, so I could try and take them by surprise or sneak away, and I'm going to try and take them by surprise, just because, I mean, worst comes to worst, we fight them, but if we do manage to get huge success, which we didn't, we'd actually be able to eliminate one of them from the group. Not the end of the world, but, I mean, I can fight a Jack of Dust, who's really just a bigger bandit, and the skeletons just have shields, which is why I don't like fighting them, but I can if I need to. And in this case, well, I need to. Unfortunately, chances are we're not going to get any food along this path, and that's going to put us in a bit of a pickle, because we lose 10 health every time we move without any food. So I'm just going to kind of hang out over here. If you notice, one of the spike traps just took out the... or didn't take out, but did a fair amount of... oh, wow. We might die here. Yep, there we go. We're dead. That was kind of a short run, but realistically, running out of food, like losing 3 food right off the bat, really screwed us over. I've had much better runs than that, but I do get to keep this token. So, let's see what we get. Because every time you get one of those tokens, you get to get multiple new cards, and if you notice, each of them has, you know, a bunch of tokens as well. So, by defeating them, I get access to Mage's Gloves, Mage's Mask, Summoned, Surprise Portal, and Battle at Brooktop. So, that's it. We're dead. And that was a full run, which, probably kind of short, but a good introduction to Hand of Fate if you ask me. There are a couple more things that I haven't shown off, but hopefully we'll run across them in episode 2 or 3 or something like that, and, you know, hopefully we'll actually be able to complete this challenge, because I completed the first two in the first try both times, and then, yeah, the Queen of Dust has really been kicking my ass. It's really just the rockfalls that are killing me over and over and over again. Anyway, so, I will see you guys on the next episode of Hand of Fate, and, as always, thanks for watching. I don't know why, but those cards are just mesmerizing. Just watching them. This is a nicely done intro animation. Though it's kind of confusing because every once in a while it goes into the shape of a heart and it's like, are you trying to woo me, Mr. Dealer Man? Anyway, see you guys later.